This week, we've got some backyard bolt-ons for late model Camaros and Firebirds, plus we're going to put them to the test.
Today on Horsepower TV, it's time for some hot rod respiratory rehab on a late model Camaro. We'll show you how to make more horsepower with a set of headers and high-flow catback exhaust system.
We've raced, several times this year back and forth. It's going to be a dogfight all the way to the end.
In our race of the week, a season finale of NSC A competition turns into a nail-biting showdown of 6-second outlaw street fighters. So hang on for Horsepower TV.
Hey, welcome to the shop. Late model F-bodies are a great combination between power and panache. And here lately, they've also become very affordable. Now, I just picked up this 94 Z28 for only $6 grand, and hey, that leaves enough left over for some speed parts like the ones we're going to bolt on it today. That is, if my partner ever decides to show up. All right. Hey, man, did you bring any donuts? All right, what do you got here, Joe?
Well, this is a 21st century F-body called the Hearst Hauler. Actually, it's a project vehicle with Pontiac, Mr. Gasket, and Year One. Under the hood, it's a 370-horse LS1. On the outside, it's got 18-inch American racing rims with 295 by 35 BFG rubber. It's been lowered all around with I-box springs, but the real attention grabber is the fact that it's a Firebird wagon.
Hey, and you know what that means? Plenty of room for plenty of parts. What do you say we unload this thing so we can get started on the Camaro? All right, keep going back. There you go. Now today we're going to go ahead and open up the intake and exhaust on this LT1. Keep going. And then we're going to measure what each improvement is worth at the rear wheels. Oh, that's good enough right there. But before we start bolting on any parts, what do you say we get a good baseline laid down first? Well, how'd we do?
About 231, good place to start. Now let's see what happens when we add the cold air inlet kit. While Chuck's removing the original air cleaner assembly, let me show you what we're going to swap it out for. It's a high-flow induction system designed by Callaway Technologies for Moroso that includes this air inlet duct, filter plate, and reusable high-flow filter element, plus all the hardware. Now, to install it, you just need a couple of sockets and a drill.
Well, there we got the old air cleaner assembly out, and as you can see, there are plenty of twists and turns and chambers, and well, this really gives you an idea of just how restrictive this thing is.
There you go, man.
Thanks a lot. Now, we're going to start installing that new air inlet system by first bolting down this air filter plate. It goes right down here where the old housing used to be. The first step is to mark 2 holes and drill them for the bolts that'll hold the plate in place. Then, after removing this plastic panel from behind the front bumper, you can tighten the retaining bolts. Now, clamp the filter element to the filter plate, install the duct plate hose on the filter plate, and the connector hose onto the mass air sensor. Now we can install the air inlet duct and reattach the hose to the fitting on the rear of the duct. Finally, just tighten up the clamps.
Hey, great job. And only took us about a half hour.
Hey, what do you mean us, you slacker? I hope you've got enough energy left over to turn the computer on.
I think I can handle that.
Well, how'd we do?
Well, about 239 at the rear wheel, 8 more than the baseline.
Hey, that's not bad. But you know, we need to keep in mind that, well, conditions here in the shop just aren't the same as they are out on the open road. For instance, there's no ram air, and the air temperature in here is considerably warmer than it is outside.
Good points, but we got to open up that exhaust, so let's check out our new headers. We're going to use this tubular exhaust system from Edelbrock. It features 1 3/4 diameter thick wall primary tubes that feed into a factory style head pipe connector. Of course, it has provisions for your O2 sensor and all the smog fittings. The flanges here are 3/8 of an inch thick for a leaf-proof seal. The kit also includes this Y pipe and all the hardware you need to install it.
Well, I've already disconnected the battery, and well, once we get this thing up in the air, we can go ahead and remove the O2 sensors plus the Y pipe and the catalytic converter. Well, now we're ready to attack the top side of the Camaro, but hey, I'm ready for a little bit of a break. Stay with us.
Oh, it's going to be a clutch pedal race, as they call it. It's going to be whoever leaves the starting line first most likely will win the race.
And the race is on at the NSC A Finals in Columbus later on HorsePower.
All right, welcome back to the shop and more respiratory rehab on Chuck's Camaro. Well, so far we picked up 8 extra horses with that Moroso cold air kit. Now, what do you say we open up the exhaust?
You bet. Now, I've already removed the O2 sensor, the Y pipe, and the cat converter. Now I guess it's time to get rid of those old exhaust manifolds and make way for our new headers.
Yeah, I would say let's get started on the hard side first, but I don't think there is an easy one. So what do you say we dig in and get the alternator off first? Once it's out, we need to remove the plugs. I want to disconnect this smog fitting from the manifold. There we go. There. Now, we've already loosened the dipstick tube underneath, and it just comes out from the top. Then, after removing 6 bolts that hold the manifold in place, it'll come right out.
The header kit includes this longer bolt and spacer that are used to reattach this alternator support bracket to the cylinder head. Now, once I get this thing started, I'm going to go ahead and lay in the header gasket and hand thread that rearmost header bolt.
Now, Chuck's Camaro's got over 120,000 miles on it, so it's got to have new plugs and wires. Before we lay the headers in place, we're going to install these Axle 300 Plus race wires. They have low resistance for maximum voltage, plus they'll help suppress RFI to keep the ignition from interfering with the onboard computer, stereo, or even the cell phone.
Well, how we doing over here?
Ready for you now.
Good deal. Now, it's going to take a little bit of finagling, but these headers will drop in from the top. Of course, once I get them dropped in, I'm going to go ahead and start that most forward bolt, and that'll hold it in place while I start the rest of the bolts. And of course, once we get all them in, we just have to cinch them down. Well, I just finished reconnecting the EGR tube, and well, now I guess it's time for me to go get the alternator, dipstick tube, and the smog fitting so we can reinstall them.
Well, that's it for the passenger side. It's pretty much the same drill on the driver's side with one exception. We have to remove the steering shaft to give us the clearance we need for our new header. Now we should have plenty of room to drop this header in from the top. Once I get this thing bolted up, maybe I can talk my partner into reinstalling that steering shaft.
Hey, dream on. Besides, I'm getting ready to install this new Y pipe here. Now, since my Camaro has so many miles on it, we went ahead and popped for a new catalytic converter. Now, this is a high-flow, high-performance converter from Random Technologies, and as you can see, it's a slip fit. Now, what that means is once we get it into position, we're going to have to MIG weld it in place. If you're doing this installation at home and don't have a welder, don't try to clamp the converter in place. Take it to a muffler shop to do the job right.
Well, I don't know about my partner there, but I'm ready to take it to a breakdown. Stay with us, though. We'll finish our exhaust and put her on the dyno jet one more time after this.
Well, here's another late model Camaro to watch. This one's battling for an Outlaw Street Championship. Follow the action later here on Horsepower TV.
Hey, welcome back to the shop and the exhaust system upgrade on my 94 Z28 here. Now, so far we've gone ahead and added a new set of headers, a Y-pipe, and a new catalytic converter. And well, now I guess it's time to finish off the rest of the job.
That's right. We're going to install this Edelbrock catback system that features 3-inch mandrel bit pipes feeding into a fully welded high-flow muffler here. Now, the whole system is aluminized for long life, and of course it comes with all the hardware you need to bolt it up. But first things first, we got to get that old system out of the way.
And to do that, we're going to use the trusty blue tip wrench. Now, the first part to get installed is this intermediate pipe. Followed by the over-the-axle pipe. Then the muffler with the driver's side tailpipe attached. And finally, the passenger side tailpipe. Now, you want to make sure that you keep all your connections loose, and well, that way you can check for clearance around the frame, any moving objects, and certainly the fuel lines. Now, once you're satisfied, well, you can go ahead and tighten everything up.
Now remember, we started out with 231 horsepower. We picked up another 8 with our Moroso cold air intake. Now let's see what kind of payoff we get after opening up the exhaust side.
Hey man, if the sound is any indication, we should have picked up a bunch of horsepower.
Hey, how about 22 more? We're now at 261. That's 30 more horsepower than we started out with today.
Great. Now, you got to remember that everything cost us about $900, and well, those headers aren't exactly easy to install. There's not much room underneath the hood there. But on the other hand, that's probably where we got our biggest gain.
Well, no doubt. Well, that's all the backyard bolt-ons for your Camaro today, but we got more horsepower TV ahead, so stay with us.
Hey, let's unstrap this thing, take it for a road test.
Hey, I'm all over that.
Coming up next, the top guns of Outlaw Street drag racing face off in the shootout of the year at National Trail Raceway. Stay with us.
Horsepower TV's Race of the Week. Trackside reports from America's best grassroots drag racing events.
This is the saga of two outlaw opponents fighting their way to the biggest duel of the year in street legal drag racing. This one's from Motor City, an outlaw street bandit who's stolen victories at strips around the country, like this one in Bowling Green, Kentucky, where he ran a top-class 689 at 199 miles an hour. This outlaw fell in from the Big Apple, so no wonder he's good at the tree. What's more, he's bad to the core, running his mean Monte Carlo on some record runs. Here going 670 to win Outlaw Street at Darlington. Well, the ultimate showdown was destined to happen here at the NSC A Finals in Columbus, where contenders first proved their machines are streetcars with a power parade.
Yeah, but here at the track, there's something more important to prove.
And that is a championship ET here in this season finale shootout. While championship titles have already been determined in most classes, in the Outlaw Street class, every run in both qualifying and eliminations will be do or die. Get this, only 1 point separates these guys from a championship trophy or going home second place.
Coming into this race, we're only 1 point ahead of D'Antoni Racing, and as you know, he's no slouch. I mean, it's going to be tough. We gotta try to qualify number one right out of the box.
The only difference between the two cars is mine's considered a pro mod car with an extended wheelbase. Steve's is more of a pro stock car with a shorter wheelbase. The effect of the two is it will be a little bit easier for me to get down a slicker track than it would be for Steve, but if his does go down, it will be quicker.
We're definitely going to have to hit it right on the tree. I think it's going to be one on the starting line. We've seen his numbers. He's seen my numbers. We've raced, several times this year back and forth. It's going to be a dogfight all the way to the end.
We're going to make 2 quality runs today, and then we'll slowly pace ourselves through elimination to hopefully meet Steve in the final, if not earlier.
During Saturday's qualifying runs, both Outlaws posted ETs in the 6s. However, D'Antoni managed a top qualifying spot to put the pair in a points deadlock heading into Sunday's finals.
It's going to take mid-80s, 680s at well over 200 to get through the afternoon. And then against Mark, he's fast and he's one of the best racers there is. It's probably going to take a real low 70, and you got to leave the light first.
Oh, it's going to be a clutch pedal race, as they call it. It's going to be whoever leaves the starting line first, most likely will win the race. We both know that I got a little more and Steve has a little more.
Finally, the showdown everyone expected came. Steve and Mark in the NSC A Outlaw season finale. And in one of the closest contests of the year, it's Griebeck winning with a 673 over D'Antoni's 676.
We're lucky. Mark's fast, and like I said earlier today, it was going to take a perfect run, and that starts at the tree. And a 68 to a 77 was close. I saw orange for a little bit of the racetrack, and I pulled the short stick, and I just disappeared from him.
We ran good all weekend. We expected to run exactly what we did. We just didn't expect Steve to run a 73. My hat's off to him. He did a great race, and he deserves a championship.
And hats off to all the champions of NSC A competition. Here are just a few of the class acts in American street legal racing.
HorsePower TV's Hot Parts, a close-up look at the latest in high-performance hardware.
Hey, if you've got a second-generation Camaro, well, here's a good hood for you from a company called Goodmark Industries. The ever-popular cow induction hood is now available in real steel, and it's not just for good looks. It's functional with an opening under here. Now, you can latch onto one for about $425.
Hey, if you want to pack more power into your Holly, well then check out this main body kit from Proform. Now it's available for most popular Holly 4-barrels, and it'll flow up to 870 CFM for an additional 25 to 30 horsepower. It's got screw-in air bleeds, down leg boosters, plus the air horn's been milled and the Venturis have been radiused. Now you can pick one of these up for about 160 bucks.
Well, now you can monitor the vital signs of your 68 and 69 Camaro with this Autometer gauge panel. It holds up to 4 optional gauges and mounts right to your console just forward of the shifter. The only funds you'll have to shift from your wallet are about 39 George Washingtons.
Hey, well, by George, I can't believe that it's time for us to leave. But before we go, here's a look at next week's program.
We'll drop a 502 cubic inch big block into Chuck's Bel Air bracket racer, backed up with an automatic overdrive trans. We'll also install a new radiator, a set of power pulleys, and high-performance shifter. we'll take you to a New England dragway to discover the story of a crew chief who refused to let blindness dim his dreams of competition racing.
And remember, high performance fun is what this show's all about.
Oh, what a day, man.
It was pretty tough, but hey, we got a couple of hot F-bodies here. What do you say?
Oh, I've been dying for some more seat time in this hauler. I love this thing. Here we go. Hey, Hanson, where'd you hide my keys, man? Wait a minute, come on.
Sucker!
For information about the products used in today's show and more, check us out online at horsepowertv.com. Horsepower TV is an RTM production.